Kamala Harris is also speaking in Eau Claire right now with her new running mate, Tim Walz. Why did you choose to speak here in Eau Claire today, the same time as Harris?
Well, we wanted to make sure there was a contrast, in part because the media has been so dishonest about Kamala Harris's record, and in part because they refused to ask her questions. We wanted to make sure that there was at least somebody out there providing an alternative story. We have to remember, President Trump delivered a closed border and rising wages. What has Kamala Harris delivered? A promise to defund the police, a promise to ban fracking and offshore drilling, a promise to destroy the American energy sector, a promise to increase the prices of the goods that the American people rely on. She has not been a good vice president for the American people, and I don't think she deserves a promotion. I think she deserves to be fired, and that's what we're here talking to people about, because the media needs to tell the other side of the story, and unfortunately, I think unless you have somebody here, they're not going to do that. Pam?
We've heard a lot from Democrats using the word weird, calling you weird, calling former President Trump weird. What do you make of that weird argument?
I think that the weird argument honestly came from a bunch of 24-year-old social media interns who were bullied in school, and they decided they're going to project that onto the entire Trump campaign. And the reason it doesn't make sense is because you ask who's weird, right? I think it's pretty weird to be the border czar and to open up the border and allow fentanyl to come into your community. I think it's pretty weird to try to take children away from their parents if the parents don't want to consent to sex changes. That's something that Tim Walz did. I think it's pretty weird to want to defund the police. I think it's pretty weird to pretend that you're a tough on crime prosecutor, even though you pursued the policies that made San Francisco such a disaster when it comes to crime and public safety. So if they want to call me weird, look, I've got my wife here. I've got 3 beautiful kids at home. I'm a normal guy who wants to live the American dream and wants all of you and your kids to be able to live the American dream. That's why I'm in it. If those people want to call me weird, I think it's a badge of honor.
Hi everyone, I hope you're all well. So in this one, we're going to look at JD Vance. You've probably had early access if you're on a member or Patreon. I'm not sure if I'm loud enough. Is anyone else's ear or ears getting blocked and then popping anytime they want to and then blocking? It's rather annoying because you don't know how loud you're speaking. So I hope my voice is a bit better now, or loud enough. What I did is, you might have just seen it, so I'm recording this and then I'm going to look for the clip, is looked at like a 1-minute video where the title was criticism against him, and when I looked at it, it seemed like it was from the Democrats, because when I find like, so if I predicted something about JD Vance and I've said like, I think there's going to be a bit of a, I'm not sure he is going to be the right fit in terms of loyalty, like how it's been blogs and Camel, right? And you should know these characters by now if you're following. If you're not following, shame on you. Subscribe, like, super thanks, donate, do whatever you want to support the channel, please, before I give up the will to live. Not really. Not based on other people's power, definitely not. So here we have JD Vance. Firstly, what does JD stand for? Because that to me sticks out. This seems like, I don't know why I've got ticklish throat all of a sudden. It seems like he is, okay, so I'm getting that he might be more focused on his lower chakras. Which, when that happens, it means, I think he's got a childhood trauma, and the way he acts is based upon something that's happened in his childhood that makes him latch on to things that he does. He does things and it's actually for security. So I wonder if there's been a form of rejection or something. I'm not quite sure, right? But what I was going to say is, if you've just seen the clip I've entered, or if it's another clip, I'll mention afterwards. I find he really presents himself very, very well, doesn't he? Like, I really did. And he's young. He's not bad looking. And I just want to get his date of birth. The thing is, like, I see somebody who's actually, I mean, we're all good deep inside. He's a Leo because he's 2nd of August 1984. He's doing well for himself, isn't he? So he is doing well for himself. But I feel like from stuff of the past, he could be extremely loyal, like extremely loyal, or it could go in a different direction. And if I'm getting that he's a bit focused on his lower chakras, it could go in the opposite direction. Now, I have a question from a subscriber, so I need to look at that before I forget. Let me just go through with what I download. So I think when I looked up to get a picture of him, because I'd not seen a picture till like a couple of days ago, when I wanted to start doing this read, and I think he had so I saw that clip, and then I think there's something with him like in an army outfit. So I think he's been in the military, army, or Marines. And it also noted him as an author. Has anyone read his books? Now, he's going to enjoy this kind of limelight kind of way. Now, a lot of people say Leos can be a bit flamboyant, so much in your face, it can be annoying. I've never known a Leo female, but I've had Leo males, and I've not seen that in them. There is a bit of ego, so if they are hurt, and this is channeling for Vance as well, if they are hurt, you won't know. What I do want to say for Vance, there's something in his dynasty. I don't know, I'm getting that word. Anyway, let's go with what I'm getting. Dynasty. Something, I like that now. Something in his dynasty that he's going to go through a healing in the public eye. So that could mean that something, whether he makes it totally, I mean, he's up for it. I don't know if he can be removed. If he's removed or something, and that kind of thing is something in the public eye, and he needs to heal. It's part of his destiny. And I don't know why I'm getting dynasty as well. Can we just check what dynasty means in particularly? Wasn't there a drama or something, dynasty? A line of hereditary rulers of a country, a succession of people from the same family who play a prominent role in business, politics, or another field. So I think he is actually paving the way for a new karmic path of his family of origin for his generation, which is interesting. So does he come from a broken family? Something is there with that. He is a masculine figure will have interesting. Is it going to be duck? A masculine figure will have a very dominant energy, or not energy, what do you call it, impact on his life, and probably around that healing. But there is that, so it might be of the past, but it could be in general. When someone looks back on their life, there's like, this chapter was just the real shaker, and it'll be a male that's had that impact. But I do get something about betrayal that puts him in kind of this kind of thing. How has he spoken about Trump, by the way? Has he ever felt shady or said anything about Trump? Because I think what's behind, let me just check something. I don't want this one. Where's the other one? What does it look like? Yeah, this one. Right, let me just check something. Take that out. There's another one like that. That's it. It's interesting. King of Wands. Trump is a Gemini, isn't he? And I think Trump has got fire in his chart as well. I only want 2 cards. One's fallen on the ground. I just want to confirm if what I'm getting is right. So I'm not sure if he has actually said something about Duck in a way, or it's been twisted by media. What I'm getting is that he hasn't, but it's been twisted by media to portray that way. So maybe he said a sentence, but the add-on of the sentence or the reason behind the sentence is, you know, you can see the reason why. It wasn't just like slating someone, but I don't know why I got that. So that's interesting. Should we see how he feels about Trump? Oh, here we go. Disclaimer, this is for entertainment purposes only. There's always the disclaimer and full disclaimer in the description box. I think there can be a tip of power between them, but I feel like Trump is a lot, like he's older, isn't he? So I feel like Trump is going to be a bit more understanding that this, where he's coming from. Trump can maybe see him as like a younger version where, okay, he's a bit in his ego, I understand it, I'll give and take. But at the same time, some people don't understand when people are being nice and humble, that actually don't rub them up the wrong way too many times or think they're stupid because they, you know, that's not the case. And I think that they could probably butt heads. Let's see. What does he think of Duck? I'm getting a headache. That card has come out. Let's elaborate. He thinks that the Congress and anyone who, I don't know who's above, I think it's the Congress, have too much involvement, okay? And I think he feels like if it wasn't for their if it doesn't come down to their involvement, he is going to have a splendid time with Duck. So I wonder also what this means in terms of his intentions. But he does see, you know, there's something about the Congress that gives him anxiety, and he thinks they're too involved. So what is that, folks? I wonder if the Congress have some secrets in terms of, okay. So he feels a bit imprisoned some way, and he's suspicious about the Congress. He's suspicious about something. He's got some reasonable fear when it comes to Duck, and he's not sure if it's Duck or the Congress. And there's a bit of shame there. So I wonder what this is. I wonder if there's something on record of higher power or something that can manipulate and change his positioning something is there, okay? They have the key, and that's causing him to feel imprisoned in some sort of way. He doesn't know if he's going to be, this is supposed to be him thinking towards Trump, but anyway, I'm just channeling what I get. He doesn't think that, he thinks something's going to be manipulated against him. He's quite, there's a lot of fear here in his thoughts, right? And I feel like he thinks if it's just Duck that he would have to answer to and be assessed by or something. Bear in mind, I don't know the whole framework of politics. I'm just downloading what I believe, okay? And it might not be necessarily right now. It might be something that comes up. He thinks that that's where he's worried about something, okay? So the reason I'm saying this is, although the Spirit keeps saying yes, use these cards, they're not shuffling very well with me, which is very interesting. So I'm just going to be guided. I'm guided to the traditional old tarot. Let's just check this is recording. Yeah. So how does he feel about Duck? How does he feel about Duck? This is much better. The cards are feeling a lot better. Okay. The Empress, the Knight of Wands. How is he feeling about Duck? These are good cards. So I think he thinks that they can work really, really well together, which translates on what I just channeled here, right? Work really good together. He's actually feeling like they could create new initiatives. He's feeling quite, what can I say? Do you know when you feel really excited and motivated and you're like, yeah, we can do loads of like these new initiatives. And he feels like Trump is going to be, here we go again. Duck is going to be really, he feels like Duck is able to generate new ideas and bring things to life. And that really excites him. And he feels like they can work well together. Let's keep going. So this is his current thoughts about Trump. If he said anything in the past, Page of Wands. He looks up to him. Again, a lot of fire and creativity. I keep mentioning someone's got a very strong Sagittarius placement. It could be Trump. It could be him as well. He could actually have his South Node or North Node in Sagittarius. Which would mean he needs to watch. Do you know what I think with him? He's going to have to watch what he says. So they're both like, you know, Duck has this impulsivity, like, I know this is wrong. I know that I could be at risk, whatever, but I'm doing it. I'm a bit of invincible, like, kind of thing. He has this thing of potentially of probably, I think he's good in social interaction. I think he could get on with a lot of people, which is good. But I think that he could like, do you know when you can talk something and then you decide you kind of like should have just said, I'll get back to you or something? Like you might talk something and you need to kind of slow down a little bit before you say stuff. I also think he is backed up, by the way, by, and this is where I think Duck is in a very difficult position. I think he is backed up, and I don't know, but I believe he's probably backed up by, JD is backed up by Elon. And I think this is what makes it very complex for Duck. Okay, so that's what I indicated it in the last read. I'm not sure if anyone picked up on it. Because I did say that I will actually look at him separately. But he's definitely going to be going through a healing in terms of something that really hurts him, but it's going to be in the public eye. He's going to have his ego confronted. And he needs to watch the speed at which he talks at to make sure that he doesn't just temper that, you know. I didn't ask the question again, but 4 of Pentacles came out. Okay, so how is he think? What do you think of Trump? What does he think of Duck? Knight of Pentacles, he thinks he's good for the long term. They could make long-term improvements. So a lot of like creative passion, motivation, excitement, but also the long-term plans around sustain things. So what can that be? That can be jobs, that can be housing, that can be benefits for certain tiers. I don't know why I'm getting tiers instead of like people or levels. Something around money, and maybe also, no, I'm not getting agriculture with them. Okay, fine. What did he? Queen of Wands. This is where they can butt heads. Okay. He has a bit of jealousy. A bit of jealousy towards Trump. Okay. It's quite a lot of fire. So the emotion, I mean, there's not emotion, but you know, sometimes one card of emotion is good. It's good that the Temperance card is here. I do think he needs to probably heal his divine feminine energy, which means he could be in a bit of his male energy, which probably goes back to what I was saying. He could be closed off because there's a healing that he needs to look at, which is interesting. I'm also getting he's actually waiting for some communication from Duck. I don't know what that is, but he feels like he's waiting for communication from Duck for some reason, which is interesting. That might be causing him a bit of the anxiety. And this, you know, this is a bit of like a jealousy. It's towards Duck, so it's kind of like not being truthful, being deceitful, okay, which is the 2 polarities that I were getting, okay. And I think this might tie in with the question I had from a subscriber. I think it was, will he tell the truth or will he be something? Let's just, before I do any butchering. Is Vance going to be spotlighted in the future as a bad guy, or is he a real being? Okay, so that's what he thinks of Trump. We'll ask that question before I forget. I think if things don't go his way, there's a big risk of like a bit of a Pandora's box. Like, I don't know how much he knows of secret stuff, but I'm getting told to look at this card. Let's look at it. 5 of Pentacles. He could feel left out on the sidelines, and I think that will trigger his trauma. What was it? So will Vance in the future be seen as the bad guy, or so is he being real, or will he be seen as the real deal? That's a difference. So I'm not sure about that question, the last part. And I think it's kind of like, is he being real, or is he actually, because seen is different to what it is. So we've got that jealousy and deceit that's in him. So that means that there is that energy there, right? That is the truth, that's there. So I don't need to say, is it the truth? So there is that kind of But is he going to be seen? Doesn't mean he is. Is he going to be seen the bad guy or being real? Okay, and that means seen means in general, in public, it's not necessarily as it is. As it is, we've just seen in the energy what he's got towards Trump. So I think that's that says it. So will JD Vance, how will JD Vance be seen? Oh look, Ace of Cups. How will JD Vance be seen? Yeah. How would you? Queen of Wands in reverse. So there is going to be a lack of proper judgment around JD Vance, which tells me there's going to be a little bit of truth, but there's also going to be, you know when, for example, you take something and maybe it's this big, but in the media it becomes this big. So there's going to be that. There's going to be some wrong judgments about him. Whether they're good or bad, there's going to be some misinterpretations around him. He is going to try to hold on, and there's going to be some harsh words. There's going to be some, I think there's going to be some nasty things said about him, or just things that are not very nice. There's definitely here some things that are going to be said, but he will be seen as also, I'm not sure if people are going to latch onto it as being jealous, but there is a jealousy there within him towards Dirk. But there is something where people are going to see him being deceitful, possibly infidelity. But again, we're talking about how he will be seen. So yes, it can be infidelity and anything in his life. So I would say also marriage. All right, so there is going to be here an issue with the way he is seen, and he is going to try and hold on. Okay, there's going to be words that are gonna, not nice. Okay, whether they're true or not, or they're taken out of context. This might also make him come a little bit on the defense. So we have to watch how he presents himself. Remember in the beginning I was saying he needs to be careful when he might be like quick to speak on something. If not, he might just decide, you know what, give me a day and I'll get back to you, which could be the other side of him when he's a bit more in balance. But there is going to be a weakness. There is going to be something that makes him feel weak. I don't know why I'm getting a word and I don't even know like what it means. Hang on. I don't know. Just like showing a lack of determination in some sense, but then still holding on to the role. And I think there's going to be a lack, there's going to be things in the media that come up that show basically saying that whether it's true or not, that maybe Duck doesn't want him and he is some of the things that I've actually said. And there's going to be a lack of determination of him being backed up. He's going to try and hold on. He needs to watch his words, because I think in social media it can get out of context. We're at a very fine line here. I hope that's answered the question. Okay, so now we're just going to go on to it can be like awesome between them, or it can be really, really shady. Okay. And it can fluctuate if he came into the role as well. I think he's the type of person that if it comes to emotions and he is hurt or triggered emotionally, he could seek revenge. Okay. And this comes from an area where there's been no healing. Allegedly, disclaimer, for entertainment purposes, it's my opinion. Okay. Like, he can talk really good about people, make people feel good, even if he's not great with them, which is good in politics, all right? And I think that he can be really, really polite as well. Again, going to that. But he can also be like, I'm going to get you and you're not going to see this coming if you hurt him. And especially emotionally. I think he also might come across as like, because of that, where I tell you I can see the weaknesses in his aura, in the chakras, there could be a thing of element of control. And we saw that actually in the Four of Pentacles, that this comes from feeling weak. And so it's kind of like he wants to be like the man or the savior. And actually, I wouldn't be surprised if that's how he is in his personal relationships. Either the savior, like, you don't need to work, I'll do everything. Or a bit of a controlling man, authoritative. I don't mean in a toxic way, but I hope you understand what I mean. I don't want to paint a bad picture about him. I don't like to do that thing. But there is something about his... let's see, would them as a duo affect the votes, right? Will Duck and JD as a duo affect the votes? Who could be other than that? Like, do you think he's the best fit? Who could be other than that? Like, the cards are puking, so we need to put them back. Which could mean that there's sporadicness in the votes right now. Oh, okay. As long as he's acting as a VP, all right, their votes won't be affected. If he, which I don't think he will at this stage, if anything comes out of a lie, of a deceit, of something hidden, or people suspect of it, and it's funny because I wanted to say this in this, if he does anything, he needs to be careful of his security. If it's seen as direct betrayal or deceit or, you know, out of line, he needs to be careful of his security, allegedly, my opinion. So as long as he acts like a VP, all good, right? They're going in a great direction. But if he kind of steps out of line, is maybe harsh in something, or fast moving, hasty on something, does something without thinking, and then it's then translated, whether it is or not, into like a hidden agenda or deceit, that could affect. Was it Duck that chose him, or was it like I said, I think behind it is a couple of people. One of it's Elon Musk, and I think that's where, you know, Elon Musk is actually really, really, because I believe they're counting on the donations, and we just saw that in the cards as well. But Elon Musk is really backing them up, and I think Duck will have a very hard time if Elon is really behind JD to be the VP, that's going to affect, isn't it? Right? That hidden sort of aspect is also going to affect. So let's see now, why was he chosen? Okay, so did he come, again, I go back to it, did he come from a broken background or family and he's completely changed his life? Which I said he will be. He is completely changing the karmic pattern of his family. This come into focus. He is somebody who's seen as successful, coming from a background, and you'll have to let me know, that is not been great, probably I'd say broken, poverty even, I don't know. So also with that, did he come from like a different heritage or descent? Just his story of how he can also be an amazing, you know, build a home, all right, through obviously his success, but also a home so that it's relatable for all people. There's a Tower card here, okay, so we just need to bear that in mind. 2 cards on the floor. Page of Swords. These cards are too much. Can I just put them back and shuffle again? Something transactional here, all right? Something has been transactional. There's a lot of money focus here. Something's been transactional. I feel like there's been a bit of a, again, I would say something to do with the backing up of someone quite, someone who's in kind of like, which ties in with the name I've mentioned, that has online presence, online enterprises, tech, that kind of stuff as well. And they feel like it could be a balanced approach, but there is a transactional relationship that could be between JD and Duck, actually. Last 2 for why he was chosen. 1, split the deck. Able to manipulate, and it goes back to the energy I was saying, he can sit with you and he can make you feel great. He really connects with you. He's a good talker. He likes you. He can say what he likes, but then it's not necessarily that he is actually thinking what you're actually seeing, okay? And I don't mean that in a bad way, but understand it whatever way you want to understand it. There's something about him that can just get on with the job, just run with the show, right? Run on the show. He doesn't need like a lot of prepping. Maybe if he had to step in or do a speech, he'd be like, yeah, you can get up and do it, and he can go for it, you know. He's able to take what he has at hand and make things happen. He's able to just act. He's able to get on with stuff. He's able to, he doesn't like need, oh, I need a day with you, Duck, to tell me what I should say here or stuff. No, he's able to do it, but there's definitely something transactional here. Just 2 more cards. I wanna check something. Let me know if you enjoyed this. Ooh. Yeah, look at this. He's got healing, remember. His hopes are not to get hurt. And his fears are also not to get hurt. So he's going to be guarded. And this is where I said it can be extremely well, but when you're hurt and you have not healed, and we don't always heal everything, there's always something that comes up, then you act from certain chakras, certain place, and this is the problem here. We can see it, exactly what I said from the beginning. Like, he really hopes not to be alienated. He hopes that he is not seen as a loss or an error to be in vice president, which is kind of like I said to you, he's at the forefront something, but below it, there is a more gentle, hurt person. And we all have that in us, but I'm just explaining. And that's why we act in certain ways. And if he just acted from, but it's very difficult in that position, because I don't think Duck is necessarily 100% trustable, but I think if you're a VP, there must be that relationship. And maybe Duck hasn't seen exactly what he needs to see to know, but I was getting that we saw it in the cards, but he wasn't sure that he could trust him. And it's coming from a hurt aspect of him, by the way. This is unhealed aspect, and he can get distracted and go into disorder at certain things, for certain things. Let me just see. Spirit's saying put these back first, okay. Look at this. Yeah, like I said, he's not sure if you can trust him. He has, this is Trump, this is Duck. He has, I don't know why I'm like, I need to keep repeating the word so that I just get used to it. So even if I'm saying the wrong word, because it's just, I don't want to say this, but it's pointless. The energy I put in reads for like 50 views and 5 likes. And yet there's people that are constantly supporting, and you're the only people, there's like a handful of you, less than 5, that constantly, and I can say you by name, that support. Otherwise, I enjoy what I do, I like what I do, but sometimes the energy is, I'm not sure if it's worth it, especially when you see other things going on. But this is, he's a bit guarded. Duck feels quite vulnerable, okay? He feels vulnerable for if he gets the presidential role, that JD might have a hidden agenda. And I saw that in the last read, can you remember? And we see it in the cards here. So this is a bit concerning, isn't it? We've got someone who probably acts from a wounded place, and we've got someone who is like, this is risky. And, you know, sometimes they say better the devil you know. And I you know, I think that's the one in politics, but they always have something up their sleeve, don't they? It's interesting because I'm getting a vision of a dragonfly. And dragonfly is transformative. It's like a new being, a new beginning, a new transformation. What I'm going to see if this deck has the dragonfly in it, and let's see if this one has it differently. But I do know that the dragonfly is that I'd be surprised if there's no dragonfly. There is. Card 22. See what the title is with dragonfly in this deck. Truth transcends illusion. The dragonfly spirit is here to remind you of the wisdom and truth available at all the times in the hidden realms. Dragonfly catches your eye with its reflective wings. Dragonfly spirit appears to tell you to pay attention to truth beyond the illusion, and recognize the insights that come seemingly out of nowhere, peeking from behind the veil. This is Trump towards JD, which is interesting. Fears dissipate as you realize you are embraced by the nurturing force that is everywhere, always in communication with you. And I know this is for Trump to JD, but I'm actually duck to JD, for goodness sake, Zain. Come on, get on with it, girl. Get on the duck bandwagon. Right. I'm actually getting this dragonfly is actually, go back to when I said that there's something that JD will go through in life. And by the way, there's something about his name where I presume JD is a breakdown, so I'm not going to say that, but his name is not JD. It's probably broken down fine. If it is, if it's not, then let me know. There's a change here. There's something, I don't know. There's like a change to disconnect from one aspect of something that's happened. So that might come to light. But in general, there's a part of him that needs to heal, that is in public eye. And so if we think of the dragonfly, a transformative energy and trusting in the universe out of the fears. So I think that message is for him. So JD, if you tune into this, let me know so that I can read you the whole, what is it, 2-3 pages about dragonfly, and then you can sit with that. But this is what I have for you. I hope this answered the question. I hope it also delivered, and boy, is he doing good for him. 1984, that's good, isn't it? And the reason also, when I think of it, if he's been in the military, usually those people have seen it all, haven't they? And so you just appreciate the goodness of people. But interesting. Why am I getting something about his wife? What is that about his wife? That's a bit different or something. Anyway, I'll leave it there. Take care, and I'll see you in the next one. Support. Give it a like, comment if you liked it. If you didn't like it, you don't have to, before I get any stupid comments. And I'll see you in the next one. Bye for now.